Welcome, everybody. Welcome to 3324 Podcast Live Oscars Redo. I'm Dean.
I'm Eric.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We just got a couple of housekeeping things to do. We got to get the chat up. There we go. We can see Kelly. We can see Elizabeth is with us in the chat. So by all means, use the chat to interact with us. And what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to select. We have certain years of Oscar Best Picture nominees selected, and we will give you the opportunity to see if we need to fix any wrongs in the past or leave things as they were, so to speak.
That's right.
And we've got some years, a decent swath of somewhat controversial years to pick from, so that'll make for some fun and interesting discussion. Mm-hmm. So we encourage you to participate. What we will do is across the bottom here, we've got this kind of ticker tape thing going. We will put the nominees there in addition to reading them off, and then we'll also put it into the chat. And Andrew is with us. Hey, Andy.
Hey.
Our friend of the show, Andy Cremines.
There he is
with us. So thank you, Andy. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate it. That's what we're going to do. We have some housekeeping we need to do first before we get to the fun stuff. Sorry. Follow us on 3324 Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. If you're here, you're already doing that. So what the ask is from us is to share and spread the word. And that is the best way that we can continue to grow. The content is coming no matter what. That's not stopping. But if your help with sharing and getting the word out will go a long way towards that. So we appreciate the support immensely.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Just get, guys, just, tell all your friends, just, get it out there. Get it out there going, growing. We could use the support. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So then number 2 on the housekeeping list, tomorrow is the final day to listen to, it's not the final day to listen to Sgt. Pepper. It'll be there. It's the final day to listen to it and enter our giveaway. And we're giving away a copy of Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band on vinyl. We've got the 3324 swag pack. And actually we decided that the second prize was just the swag pack, but we're going to actually do the second prize with the vinyl too. So we're actually giving away two grand prizes instead of like a first and second prize. That's how we roll. Then the final piece of housekeeping is we have a new episode tomorrow. Every Thursday we have new episodes that come out. We work diligently for you. We are hard at work doing our research, listening to music. You think that's easy to listen to music? It's you got to sit there and listen to music. I mean,
maybe.
So we've got our new episode tomorrow is who? Who is it?
Who's next?
I'm next.
No, who's next?
Who's next? I don't know.
That is what we're talking about.
Oh, we are going to be talking about the quintessential Who album, I think. I dare say. Who's next? And Eric is the quintessential Who fan of the two of us.
That's your opinion. No, I'm sorry. No, it's going to be great, guys. It's a really great episode. We're proud of it. So
yeah. So that will be available tomorrow, which is really neat. And again, we thank you for the support. So without further ado, there are plenty of years, there were plenty of categories, there were plenty of times where if you sat and watched the Oscars or you watched the Grammys too back in the day, and you were rooting for your personal favorite, and it didn't win, your favorite actor or actress, and sometimes there's upsets, and sometimes it's a shoo-in, like it's just going to kind of go, you know how the night's going to go, especially with Oscars for the most part. So there's been plenty of Oscar. Hey, Nick Leshy. Thank you for the Abbott and Costello shout out. Eric, you may need to turn your microphone up because you can barely hear you, unless it's because you're not talking.
Okay.
What's happened is obviously there's no shortage of controversy too of curious decisions that the Academy has made. Was this really the best picture? And another part of that also is time. Sometimes at the time that these awards are given out, it seems like a logical selection. And I guess, that's what we're here to explore and enlist your help with is, were these the right decisions? Is it because maybe if a movie fades and it was Best Picture, does that still mean it was the Best Picture or it wasn't? And if other films have only grown in stature, does that make it the Best Picture instead? Don't
know the criteria. I mean, you never know what they're thinking when they pick these. So, definitely there have been films that you've rooted for in the past, and sometimes they don't hold up, and you want some of the runner-ups to win. So it's hard. Time is a definite factor. I think what's in the now is a definite factor.
Mm-hmm. And I guess how a film ages too. I think that's part of it. So we're going to go with the first year. We're going to go with is kind of a light one. It's going to kind of get the palette going and get you into this. So we're going to go in year order. So just so you know, we have six years that are selected, and I think each year, ramps up the drama and ramps up the excitement for like what it could be. So the first one is going to kind of get you into it, and what we'll ask you to do is I'm going to put it into the crawl, and I'll also copy it into the chat. We'll give you some time, put your votes in, and then Eric and I will vote last, and then we'll see if history changes or history remains the same in our little corner of Facebook. So let me get the first one going, and the year is.
The year was 1979.
1979
for the films. I mean, of course, this was the 1980 Oscars, so when it was broadcast. So this would be for the year 1979.
Yes, but the 1980 awards, and here are your nominees with the winner. So the nominees are Kramer versus Kramer, which won for Best Picture. All That Jazz, Apocalypse Now, Breaking Away, and Norma Ray. And I need to put some space in between these two. But take a look at that. And yes, Kramer versus Kramer, I believe Meryl Streep.
Dustin Hoffman.
Did Meryl Streep win for that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I think she won. That was her first Oscar for Best Actress. That was about the couple getting divorced. Yeah. All That Jazz was with Roy Scheider, right? Which was the biography of Bob Fosse.
Yep.
Apocalypse Now, which I think maybe and that's why this one might be a little bit of a wiffle ball.
The absolute monster
is what that was. Breaking Away, which is a film that we will absolutely do an episode on with the Cutters about small town life and a bicycle race that brings these people together and brings a small town together. Which was really great. And then Norma Ray, which I actually saw in the theater. I saw that in the theater. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
With Sally Field. And this was no, you know what? I think this was Sally Field's first win. I think she won for Norma Ray. In that clip we played, she had said the first time, I didn't feel it, you really like me. I think she won for Norma Ray, I think. And then won again. So we've got wow. So so let me get some votes in. So right now we've got All That Jazz has 2 votes.
Yeah.
And we've got one for Kramer versus Kramer. One to stay at Kramer versus Kramer. One is to not change history at all. So go ahead and plug in your votes, and let's see what else we have. Andy, straight up drama, hard to beat Kramer versus Kramer, but nobody is walking out of that movie happy. Well, yes. So Andy's saying no one's walking out of that movie happy. So he's going to go with another happy film. Apocalypse Now is going to be his vote for something that is not as much of a downer. And Kramer versus Kramer. Wow. So we've got 2 for Kramer versus Kramer, 2 for All That Jazz, and 1 for Apocalypse Now. So I guess it's time for us to vote. Eric.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now.
I saw this movie in the theater. It was an experience.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it. It's not just a film; it's an experience.
Well, this is one of those categories, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, if you asked people today, Apocalypse Now or Kramer versus Kramer, people might say, "What is Kramer versus Kramer?" Mm-hmm. But Apocalypse Now has had that
that impact, yeah,
that long-lasting impact, and
over time, you know. But it is considered one of the greatest war films ever made. A somewhat loose adaptation on the Heart of Darkness story, but I think for me, like I said, it's all about it being an experience, not just simply a film.
Yep.
You know, so when you go see this thing, it's like it's sight, it's sound, it's senses. You're getting the full.
Sorry, late breaking news. Casey just came in, and it is now 3 votes for Apocalypse Now. So Apocalypse Now is in the lead. Now you're putting pressure on me. Because there's 2 for Kramer versus Kramer, there's 2 for All That Jazz, and there's 3 for Apocalypse Now. So do I try and make a 3-way tie? Do I slam the door shut on Apocalypse Now? Or you saw Apocalypse Now. you didn't see Apocalypse Now, Sean? I'm going to go with Breaking Away.
Okay.
I love that film. It was just a great. It was like the early version of an indie film. It was just such a small film, but it had so much heart and such a slice of life that if I was going to pick, if you were going to say we're going to show all of these films right now, which are you going to watch? I'd say put on Breaking Away.
Okay.
If you put that list out, you put that list out right now and say we're going to put one in. I'll say put in Breaking Away.
I mean, but from what I'm saying is like Apocalypse Now doesn't necessarily have to be you don't necessarily have to like it to appreciate the experience of it.
Yeah, you know, and actually, what I'll say is, you could have
went to this film, watched it, and been blown away just by the overall attack of the senses, you know, and then come out of it and say, well, you know what, I didn't care for the film, but at least it had that experience. You know, so above all the other choices, sure.
Yeah, and what I would say is if you're not into this, you know, the Vietnam thing, or you're not into war films, what I would recommend is watch the documentary then. Just watch the documentary Hearts of Darkness, because what they went through just to get this movie done. I mean, you know, it was originally Harvey Keitel in the lead. They canned him out. They get Martin Sheen. He has a heart attack. Then there's the logistics of where they filmed, and monsoons and weather,
the
and
entire film. The entire crew company over to, you know, was it Thailand to film this thing? I mean, it's just, you know, they don't do this anymore. They don't do this kind of thing. It's very rare that you see this kind of production. You know, we're talking like David Lean type stuff, where he, you know, like Lawrence of Arabia or Bridge on the River Kwai, where they film the stuff on location. And building, you know, whatever sets there were, and it was epic, absolutely epic.
Yeah, and then you have Brando showing up, and he was significantly heavier than expected to be. So there's that, and then he was just wanting to do his own. He was at that period in his career, he was just wanting to do his own thing, and it was just crazy. So much, you know, Breaking Away, but we're going to declare Apocalypse Now the winner.
The winner.
So Apocalypse Now is the winner of the 1980.
The redo. Our redo is Apocalypse Now.
Yes.
Which in itself was a redo. So I wonder if that's the sort of the title or the catalyst for this whole thing.
Apocalypse Now is the winner. Okay, that was an easy one. That was kind of wiffle ball, but I'm actually surprised. Well, because you know what, I figured it was going to go that way. But you know what, I'm frankly surprised that All That Jazz actually kind of was in the hunt too.
But that would have been for me, a runner-up, because that's an extraordinary film too. I hadn't seen it back in the day, but I do own it on Criterion Blu-ray, and I am ashamed to say that I saw it real late in the game, but if I had seen that back, and I probably would have really. I mean, again, it's really well done.
Yeah.
It's an extraordinary film. Yeah.
All right, we are moving on. Now we're upping the ante. Now we're putting you to some decisions. This is going to get difficult. This is not going to be easy. We're going to 1990. Okay? The winner, or the nominees are Dances with Wolves, which won at Best Picture, Awakenings, Ghost, Godfather 3, and Goodfellas. Okay? Have at it. Now, Dances with Wolves won. That kind of swept, it reinvigorated the Western, even though it's not really, I don't consider it Western-y per se. It's not gunslinging. But Dances with Wolves was a sensation. It kind of, like I said, Unforgiven would come after that, and Tombstone. Awakenings with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Another amazing film. Ghost, which was a runaway sensation. Don't forget, Whoopi Goldberg won Best Supporting Actress this year for her work in Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay. Godfather 3.
I don't know about that.
Coppola continuing the saga.
They had to give it to Coppola for,
Coppola continuing the saga. And then Goodfellas, which is, has, at the time, it was an epic. It's still its memory hasn't faded. So we've got Goodfellas. We've got good. All right, let's do this. Sean, Goodfellas. Kelly, Goodfellas. Nick, Goodfellas. Elizabeth, Goodfellas.
Elizabeth Navarro. Oh, Dances with Wolves? What? Yeah.
All right. So it looks like right now it's a runaway of Goodfellas.
No brainer.
What is your selection?
My selection?
Yes. For 1990. It's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Now, I wouldn't have said that back in the day because I love Dances with Wolves. I saw it 6 times in the theater.
Wow, then.
That's how much I love that film. But this is one of those examples where time isn't necessarily good to the film, I think.
Really?
It was an extraordinary achievement for Kevin Costner. I think he did a fantastic job his first time directing. It was really masterfully done. It's a beautiful film. I have some problems with it today. Like as I watch it today, it doesn't hold up as much for me, unfortunately. But Goodfellas was just, I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have back in the day. But now, that's a movie that just punches you right in the gut.
Yeah.
And that should have been, this is the third strike for Martin Scorsese. He didn't win for Taxi Driver. He didn't win for Raging Bull. This should have been his win. Not The Departed. Should not have been his first Oscar win. Goodfellas definitely should have been in that film. Yeah.
All right. My choice will be to leave history as is, and Dances with Wolves, I believe, was the best picture of that year, regardless of the, the continued notoriety that Goodfellas has, or the increase in its legendary status, because it is a legendary film. But I think, pound for pound, as far as best film goes for that, Dances with Wolves was an amazing achievement. It was an amazing film. It was just, I watched that film. I didn't see it in the theater. I didn't see it till afterwards, and it was like a 3-hour film, and it felt like it was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It just, you're totally engrossed in it in a good way. It's got enough serious stuff. It's got enough, I don't want to say lighthearted, not really comedy, but it's just got everything in it. And the cinematography, it's just gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous film.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that this was a fairly moderate budget too. It wasn't. It's epic looking, but it's not. Kylie Harris. I'm biased to Goodfellas since I watched it the first time with Dad, so of course it will be my pick.
And I think we've got the definitive quote right here from Nick. It's Goodfellas for the win.
For the win.
So, not surprising, right? Goodfellas has reached that legendary. Like I said, when it came out, it had legendary stature to it.
Yeah,
it was like,
course.
geez. But the thing I had my thing with Scorsese is he's his editor is very sloppy, and that's what bothers me. Is there's always some like issue with shots not matching up and stuff like that. So I'm getting nitpicky, but hey, we're moving on. So we've had two so far. 1979 or 1980. I'm sorry. Is Apocalypse Now has been crowned the new winner, and 1990 Goodfellas has unseated Dances with Wolves. I'm actually going to get this done the right way now. And I'm going to have all this stuff ready the right way. I hope.
Elizabeth Navarro, what is it funny to you? What am I?
That's it. What am I? All right, next up, we're skipping 1991. We are going to 1992. And here comes your nominees and your winner. Unforgiven was the winner, the Clint Eastwood epic that he waited until he was of a certain age to be able to film that. Mm-hmm. The Crying Game, which was a sensation of don't give away the ending. A Few Good Men, which is on TNT every week, and I watch it when it's on. Howard's End, and Hoo-Wah, Scent of a Woman. Okay, and Pacino won for that role. So there's a lot to chew on there.
That was the runaway hit right there, Scent of a Woman.
It kind of was. It kind of was. Unforgiven had a lot of critical acclaim. We've got a Few Good Men coming in with a vote, with an upvote. What else? Who else? Loved A Few Good Men, but Unforgiven deserved that Oscar. And Nick, now let me ask, Nick, do you think that Few Good Men is a perfect movie? Do you think that was a career Oscar? Because that's something that we have to consider too. Is a lot of times, sometimes if someone is kicking around long enough, they make a film, even if it's like, they throw them the Oscar as a career thing. Like they'll give it to like Eric just said with Scorsese, he won for The Departed. Was it his best film that was nominated? Probably not. But are you going to take a chance that he doesn't make anything else? Scent of a Woman is the only one I really have any memories of. Nice.
Kelly Cooper, Scent of a Woman is the only. Really? You're married to the guy that loves Clint Eastwood. How could you not have any memory?
Well, there you go. That's because you're too busy watching him alone.
There you go.
So Casey Bauer is going with Unforgiven as well. So I think we've got, we might be split down the middle here. I've got Few Good Men, Unforgiven, and Unforgiven, and then one for Scent of a Woman. Wow. This is a tight one.
Okay, what's your choice?
My choice? God. It's tough. I'm gonna stay on Unforgiven. I'm staying on Unforgiven. As great as Scent of a Woman was, I don't think it was Best Picture, and now that performance has become like so often imitated, and that really started like the Al Pacino playing Al Pacino kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So Nick can't handle the truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Unforgiven. It's most definitely his masterpiece. So maybe I'm being a little biased to Clint. I really respect the guy as a director. This was he was a superstar as an actor back in the day, but I really respect his directing.
Yeah,
he was
very,
very simple directing style, but this was the film that, to me, it says a lot. There's a lot of things going on in this film that are sort of buried deep. There's just a lot of subtext happening.
Yeah, it was kind of almost like the anti-Western, and
exactly.
in some respects, because Eastwood was known as like this, the man with no name, and all, Outlaw Josie Wales, and this was more of a broken down dirty Western, not
Right.
romanticized. Even not that the Eastwood was stuff, but it was to an extent.
This was
When you compare it with
dismantling
Unforgiven.
of the classic Western myth, like the
Yeah.
gunfighter, shooting guys like falling out of windows from like 2 stories.
Yeah, and
up
it's
and that kind of
glamorous, and you're winging, you're picking people off. It's like this is the real thing of a man living with what he did and trying to shake his nature if he can. And Gene Hackman, forget it. Hackman was awesome.
Yeah,
This kind of
yeah,
revitalized
performance.
Hackman as well.
Absolutely, and he wasn't, and he didn't, initially didn't want to do it because he's not a violent man. He's not into, which is ironic because he's made some movies that were pretty violent, But you think of like, Popeye Doyle and and stuff like that.
French
but it's
Connection.
just, French Connection, but yeah, I mean, and he is the absolute most violent person in this film. He's
Little Bill.
sadistic. He's but he played it great.
Yeah. So I think history has spoken and we have spoken. And to quote Leonardo DiCaprio from Catch Me If You Can, do you concur? Yes, we concur. Unforgiven has retained its title. So Unforgiven is the first one to be able to stand on its own and beat back the memories of other films. Well done, Unforgiven. Next up, the next year we're going to
This is a good one.
another controversial year.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be a big one. Oops, let me copy and paste the correct one.
I have a feeling this is going to be.
This is going to be divisive.
No, not at all. I don't.
Not at
think so.
all.
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah, all right. Here we go. We're going to
1994.
Yes. Whoops. What's going on here? Hang on a second. Having a little bit of an issue.
Okay.
Copy. Go over here. Get rid of that. There we go. Paste.
Okay,
1994. Forrest Gump was the winner. Go ahead.
Yep. Forrest Gump was the winner. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show, and The Shawshank Redemption.
And Eric seems to think this won't be divisive at all.
This guy behind me, no.
So we already have one coming in for Pulp Fiction. You got to remember, Forrest Gump, I mean, Tom Hanks won also for Best Actor. I think Zemeckis won for Best Director. So that was kind of a clean sweep. Pulp Fiction kind of came out of nowhere. Nick is also on the Pulp Fiction train. 4 Weddings and a Funeral was kind of that quirky comedy. I don't know how it made it in there, but you had Andie MacDowell, who, where is she today? But she was kind of big, and Hugh Grant. Quiz Show, personal favorite of mine, directed by Robert Redford, which was a great film with Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
And now you've got an evergreen. Shawshank Redemption has only increased in its legendary status and its love. So this, and then you've got Pulp Fiction, which is iconic. It was the second film from Tarantino. It really made a big splash. So I think people might have been caught unaware when Pulp Fiction came out to that it was maybe the best picture, because it was just a tough. You had Forrest Gump, which was just everybody was talking about. There's great. We've got some Shawshank in there too now.
Kelly, Shawshank, Andrew Cummings, get the F out of here, Forrest. Kylie Harris, Shawshank.
Shawshank.
Wow, great year. It was a great year.
Casey. This is a tough one.
Great.
So
yeah.
What we have so far is we've got, let me see, 1, 2. We've got 2 for
Stingfield. Shawshank. Sean Grady.
We have 2 for Pulp Fiction, 2 for Shawshank, 3 for Shawshank. What's it going to be, sir?
I think Pulp Fiction should have won. It should have been the.
But what's the poster behind you?
Shawshank is one of my favorite films.
Shawshank just came in with 2 more votes. So Shawshank, let me see, 1, 2, 3. Shawshank is a perfect movie. Again, nobody had any seen. So Andy's playing both sides against the middle. Shawshank's a perfect movie, but again, nobody had seen anything like Pulp Fiction. So
and he's absolutely right.
So I'm not sure what he's voting for.
No, no, he voted for Pulp Fiction.
He did? Okay.
He did. Nobody hadn't seen anything like Pulp Fiction. And that's the thing. It was fresh. It was
And Nick, Shawshank was great, but Pulp Fiction revitalized independent cinema and was a landmark on nonlinear storytelling. Absolutely.
I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, he did get props for the screenplay. Well deserved. I think he should have won screenplay, director, and best picture for this. That should have been Quentin Tarantino across the board, I think.
Pulp all the way.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got. Let me see. It keeps changing though. So 1, 2.
And I love, but make no mistake, I do. Shawshank is one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. It has become
It's
evergreen. That,
I'm sorry. The voting is going with Andy. That was my Morgan Freeman impression. Sorry. Shawshank Redemption is ahead. Pulp Fiction was a great film then and now. All of these are. I mean, this was.
Complain.
I told you this was everybody that's joining us. I never said this was going to be easy. Mm-mm. There was no guarantee that this would be an easy choice, and it's only going to get harder.
Well, let me tell you this. For me, the big upset. This Shawshank was the big upset because it didn't win anything. At least Quentin Tarantino got best screenplay.
Yeah,
which it's a great screenplay. However, Darabont and crew, they got nothing for this film. And that's sad. To me, that is a stinger right there.
I think it's all, you know what? And
it wasn't even acknowledged in that sense. Like it didn't even,
and that's the thing.
Like it didn't even have a chance.
It's only grown, and well, that's the thing is Forrest Gump laid a shadow over everything. You have to remember, everybody was walking around saying life is like a box of chocolates. Everybody was doing that. I mean, I saw that movie in the theater, and my jaw was dropped at the end of it. I was like, this is an amazing film, and Shawshank has kind of only grown in its status, right? It's like that. With time, it has aged even better. So people didn't catch it as much, and
think about what's going on today. It's the perfect movie to watch today.
Yeah. So it's just all right. So you have to choose. So you chose Pulp Fiction.
I chose. That's my choice. But Shawshank, it's a close second.
Oh boy, everyone's gonna hate me.
Well, you're gonna go with Gump, right?
No, I'm not going to go with Gump. Actually, okay. No. Back then, everybody was also marveling at the technical aspects of Forrest Gump, of what they did with putting him into history and doing all that stuff. So Forrest Gump hit on so many levels. It hit on technical levels. It hit on emotional levels. It hit on storytelling levels. The soundtrack. I mean, it brought you through decades.
Nick Leshy, did the title hurt Shawshank? Absolutely, it did. Frank Darabont made that point because people were like, what is this Shawshank thing? Like, nobody understood the title. So yeah, I think it did have an effect because people didn't go to see it. This movie was born on word of mouth. People rented it. It became one of the top rentals.
Yep.
So there weren't a lot of people flocking to see the film back in the day. So,
all right. I'm going, if I'm going to say what was the best picture of that year, I'm going to say Pulp Fiction. Well, what's the matter? Yeah, I think it thirsty for Dr. Pepper. I think it revolutionized. He came on and really gave a swift kick in the pants to filmmakers, and he instantly did something that only he would ever do. Everybody tried to copy it, but immediately became a Quentin Tarantino style of filmmaking, which is I've never heard of anybody after 2 movies that has their own style named after them.
That's right.
And their own genre. So for me, I'd have to say Pulp Fiction for everything. It wasn't as ambitious as Forrest Gump, but it was ambitious in a different way, in the way it played with time, in the way it played with character and scenes. Talking really not talk. The movie isn't really about anything. Eric and I have talked about this a couple of times. It's not really about anything, but what it is about is these characters and their interactions, and you just get you're kind of there with them. So Shawshank still won though. So history has been changed once again, and we're doing it without the gauntlet. We don't have any Infinity Stones, yet we're changing the past.
Well, I'm happy. I mean, there you go. There it is. I'm not complaining, but yeah, Pulp Fiction should have won that year though.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
This is not getting any easier. We are moving on to 1997. Okay. Let's get the nominees up. 1997. Does anybody remember offhand what the best picture was for 1997? Anybody? No?
Anybody? No? Crickets.
Bueller?
Bueller.
All right, here it comes. Titanic was the best picture for 1997, As Good as It Gets, with Jack Nicholson. He won for Best Actor. The Full Monty, which was the guy stripping. Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams won for Best Supporting Actor. And then L.A. Confidential, Curtis Hanson directed that amazing film with a cast that was just Titanic. That's the Alaskan version, Titanic. Titanic does. Oh, okay. We've got some shots fired.
Kelly Cooper. Nope.
Titanic deserved it that year. She didn't know who won.
I'm sorry. Okay. I was
yeah, Titanic. I that was an epic film. It was like 3+ hours. I did see it a couple of times in the theater. It was very. I don't think anybody that saw it at the time wasn't affected by the intensity of it too. You know, the first half of it was like one thing, and then the second half was just a totally different experience. And and James Cameron was just is always on the cutting edge of stuff, and he delivered something that was just absolutely amazing. But
it was a technical marvel that deserved all the awards. Andrew Cremines, yeah,
it absolutely does. I mean, when you're talking Cameron, you're gonna and Dwight. All right, Dwight. Hey, Dwight.
Dwight Burke. Hey, Dwight.
L.A. Confidential was a superb movie. I was getting there, but you've got Good Will Hunting, which also has only in with age gotten better. The Robin Williams performance and just that story, that's become an evergreen too. That's just and they won for best screenplay, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So there's a lot of winners. Hey Dwight, what's up guys? The commitment to detail, even the plates. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Cameron. It's just crazy. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, if I had a choice of them today, I would totally go for Good Will Hunting every time. Now, L.A. Confidential. Wow. What a film. It's just an amazing piece of current or modern film noir. The casting, it was a relatively young and unknown Russell Crowe for the most part. Guy Pearce, nobody knew of. The two Australians in the lead. Mm-hmm. You've got Kevin Spacey before all that happened. You've got James Cromwell. I mean, you have a cast. Danny DeVito. Yeah. Kim Basinger won for Best Supporting Actress. It's that film has the right feel to it. Also, it's just it captures the 50s. David Strathairn is in there as well. All right, let's get some vote. Rollo Tomasi, there you go. Rollo Tomasi, I love it. All right, so let's start getting some votes in. Let's see who is it going to be? And Rollo Tomasi did not win for Best Actor. Get your votes in. Titanic, As Good as It Gets, which was a really great film also in its own right. The Full Monty, we kind of glossed over it. I don't think it's in the conversation. Good Will Hunting and L.A. Confidential. So go ahead into the chat and put your votes in again. Let me get a fresh scroll on it so we can get it right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hello? Did we lose? Oh, there we go. We got one for Titanic. Casey
Bauer, Titanic. Okay. I know Andy chose Titanic.
We got Good Will Hunting, so we got one for each. Andy, Andy said Rollo Tomasi, so I'm not really sure. Kylie, Titanic. Nick, Titanic. Dwight, L.A. Confidential.
I think Beth Navarra.
Elizabeth Berg, Titanic. Hey, Elizabeth. Wow, this is surprising.
Yeah.
Right now, Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh God.
Got that? Come on, that was a good one.
Okay.
We've got a Goodwill Hunting. So we've got like 4 or 5 Titanics, 2 Goodwill Huntings, and 1 LA Confidential. Eric?
My pick.
Sean's got Titanic as well. Everyone, wow. I'm frankly surprised.
Okay, so my pick, Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting, really?
Right. Titanic, to me, I'm sorry to say, folks.
Zach says Goodwill Hunting as well.
It does not hold up for me at all. I can't stand Titanic now. I cannot watch this film. I unfortunately got to see the British film, from the 50s, A Night to Remember. And it's literally shot for shot the same movie with sans the love story.
Mm-hmm.
And the love story about
so it's just
Titanic
a ship sinking.
Is the thing that I hate the most about it. I can't stand Leonardo DiCaprio in this film. It's cringy. It just doesn't hold up for me. I loved it back in the day. Technically, It was great. Cameron he's always technically great, but for the most part, I don't think his films hold up for me as much. Like emotionally and character wise, I just no.
Wow.
So, but Goodwill Hunting. That's a fantastic film.
So if
kudos to
just a ship sinking.
Kudos to Matt. I mean, I loved everything, like all the story about with Bill Paxton.
Nick got ahead of me. I was going to ask you if True Lies was nominated. Would you prefer True Lies over Titanic?
Maybe. T2 holds up.
T2 holds up.
I like the first one better. The Terminator.
Oh boy!
Don't talk about Leo like that, Dad. Oh my God! I'm gonna get heat for this, but no, it's just. I'm
gonna go. I'm going with Dwight. L.A. Confidential all the way. If you have not seen L.A. Confidential, it is just an amazing piece of cinema. Again, it captures an era. It's got the feel. It's got a story. I love stories. I like stories that are a little convoluted because when I watch movies, I don't try and figure stuff out. I don't ever sit there and think about what's coming next, unless a movie is really bad. Like if I'm thinking about a movie, that means it's not really good. Mm-hmm. I go on the journey. I don't try and So I'm a sucker for like twist endings because I'm not trying to figure them out. I'm just going with it. And not that L.A. Confidential has a twist ending, but it's just an amazing piece of film. And if you're going with these that you're going to screen, I'd say LA Confidential, then Goodwill Hunting. Goodwill Hunting is an absolute classic too. I mean, it's a classic.
Well, that was the sleeper hit of that year too. I mean, it was this little movie that could kind of thing. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, they definitely deserved that win for best screenplay. I was really I'm going to call it. And if you're not crying when they hug at the end, I'm going to call you a liar. Mm-hmm. When he says it's okay, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Yeah.
I'm gonna start crying now. We gotta go. We gotta turn off. Sorry, this is getting weepy.
Yeah.
So Titanic. Another one has held off our voting system, and Titanic has been raised from the depths to sail once again, and it retains its crown. Frankly, I got to be honest, I'm surprised. I am totally shocked at that. I thought that people would feel the same way about Titanic, like, oh, great then, but there are other things. Mm-hmm. Good, has not paled. We've got one more category, and while we're getting it ready, we're going to take the time to thank everybody, as always, for your support. It is so important to Eric and I. Like I said in the beginning, if you weren't with us, if you can share our posts or spread the word and share it, everybody that's here is kind of like our core fan base and our core family and friends of 3324. Helping us spread the word really, really helps. King of the world. King of the world.
Andrew means their fake Boston accents make me cry. Well, unfortunately, both of them are from Boston.
Yeah, so. I don't know. Maybe Marky Mark's fake Boston accent in Departed. You're no cop. I don't know if that one's even worse too. You're no cop. But I think that's just a thing. Is doing Boston accents is like you have to like really exaggerate it.
You are no cop.
But we thank you for your support. We do appreciate it and look forward to the live ones where we get to interact. And as you can see, we've already upgraded our game since the last time. We've got a scroll across the bottom and we're putting chat up. So, think about what we'll be doing the next time. Gosh. Well, and we'd love to get some guests in too. So that would be fun too, is to invite one of you to our live stream and help us out and kind of help co-host. So, absolutely open to doing that and look forward to doing it. So our final year, and God, the 90s there was something going on. There was something in the water in the 90s. Like we had talked about this, I think the 90s were like the second. If you just look at these nominees, you're looking at a second golden age of film. I mean, you just look at the stuff that we talked about, and that wasn't even. I mean, that was 5 of the years. You're talking about an amazing era of just output, of creativity, of inspiration, of fake Boston accents. I mean, you had it all there. It was just everything, whatever you wanted. A ship sinking, just everything was there.
To me, the 90s felt like a return to form. You saw a lot of romantic comedies. You saw a lot of the stuff from the golden age of Hollywood, like 40s and the 50s. You saw things like Shawshank. It had like that happy ending. It was more like a Frank Capra film. It was, that kind of romantic type of stuff was still happening a lot in the 90s. But of course you had stuff like Pulp Fiction, and this was like cutting edge kind of stuff. You had The Matrix. You had, I mean, it was quite a decade.
Yeah,
for
film, Super Mario
was,
Brothers, the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
No? Okay. No, I try. I gotta try and throw something in there. So, so our last year, the final year that we're going to be doing, 1998, and this was probably the most controversial year. And we're saving the best for last. So I'm gonna pop in. Here comes your winner and your nominees for the 1998 Academy Awards. Shakespeare in Love was the winner. Elizabeth was nominated with Cate Blanchett. Great film. Life is Beautiful, Roberto Benigni. Saving Private Ryan, and The Thin Red Line. So you've got two World War II films, 2 war films in there. Yep. Thin Red Line was Terrence Malick. He's known for just very
esoteric type
I was trying to find the right word.
Kind of like they're kind of out there.
His films
very visual.
His films take their time. They're in no rush to get anywhere.
Right, exactly.
And here we go. Nick summed it up in 5 words. I think the sentiment was, Saving Private Ryan was robbed.
Kelly Kruber, Saving Private Ryan. Andrew Cremine's Private Ryan.
Hands all the way down. Saving Private Ryan with a heart. Jeez. Saving Private Ryan. I mean,
I think we have a winner here.
I don't think anybody that saw that film in the theater. If you saw it in the theater, I don't think you came out unaffected in one way or another.
That's true.
It was just. I mean, I can tell. I remember. It's one of the.
Farah, Life is Beautiful. Ooh, there's a curveball right
Contrarian.
There you go.
She's saying life is. She's saying life is beautiful. She's saying life is beautiful because Saving Private Ryan's going to win. I think that's what she means.
But it was a great film, though.
Saving Private Ryan, 100%. I certain movie experiences you never leave you, and that was one of them. The first 15 or 20 minutes, literally, and I mean it literally, my jaw was on the ground. It was open. Just watching the intensity of you'd never seen anything like that before. You'd seen violent films, but nothing like this because we were all brought up with the gung-ho World War II, rah, rah, go get 'em type thing. And that's, usually that kind of stuff then got saved for like the Vietnam films like Platoon and Born on the 4th of July and Full Metal Jacket. But then seeing it to this extent, and with no holds barred. Are you guys a year behind? No, it was given out in it was these are the 1998 Oscars. right? Or am I a year off?
It would have been 99.
99. Sorry.
The Oscars in 99, but from the year
1998.
98. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, they kind
think
of
so.
like a lot of the older films sort of glorified World War II, but you're right. The all the stuff they made about Vietnam were the dirty, gritty, more violent, but the first 20 minutes of this film alone should have won a technical special award just for that. But I don't know what's your choice? I mean, what would you pick? I mean, Private Ryan obviously would be the clear winner. I agree, but I'm not surprised it didn't win.
Really?
He got all the accolades for Schindler's List. So here you have another World War II period piece. They probably figured, well, he got his, back in, a couple of years earlier with Schindler's List. And he pretty much swept those Oscars right there. So I'm not surprised.
Shakespeare in Love? I saw that in the theater.
No.
It was okay. I mean, I remember it was a big deal, but maybe Elizabeth instead.
I don't agree. I think Private Ryan should have won, but I'm like I said, I'm not surprised it didn't win, because that might have been the mentality they were. Spielberg. Well, he had his day with Schindler's List, and here's once again we're dealing with World War II, and so that could have been a factor. But Life is Beautiful, I thought, was a good contender. I think it's a great film. I've only seen it like just a couple of times, but from what I remember, I was affected by it. It's,
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So that does it for that. But we have one that I want to throw out there just for discussion purposes. It's a bunch of nominees. I'm gonna get it plugged in real quick. Hang on one second. Just let me type it up. And this is just from a discussion standpoint, and just to see how things possibly change. And you can let me know. And I think I'm just getting it ready. Sorry, just bear with me. I appreciate it.
Spielberg, he did win for Best Director, though, didn't he? For Private Ryan? Let me pose this question to everyone out there. Do you think that if you win Best Picture but don't win Best Director, do you think that's a thing? I do. I think that's a sort of an old-fashioned thing with the studios back in the day, where producers were in charge and directors were more or less hired guns. Now, that's a thing that should have changed. I think if you win Best Picture, you should win Best Director. I think it's. I don't know. I don't think it should be two separate.
You can't have one without the other.
I think the director should definitely be attached to that film.
Okay.
Especially if, like, someone in a case like Quentin Tarantino, he wrote the film, directed it. That's So how do you separate the two? Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. I get where you're coming from, but I guess they need to separate it. I guess at some point to keep it equitable and I guess there are instances where the Best Picture, it doesn't necessarily mean the director was so great. It could have been the screenplay that carried it, and the director was just kind of there. So I'm going to plug in one, and we'll close on this. And I think it'll just be a fun discussion point to talk about. And here we go. The nominees are The Turning Point, Star Wars, Julia, The Goodbye Girl, and Annie Hall, which won for Best Picture in 1977. Now, the question I have about this is, because at the time Star Wars was not something that would have won Best Picture, because those type of movies didn't win Academy Awards back then, right? So now with the advent of movies like Lord of the Rings winning Best Picture and movies like Black Panther being recognized,
that changed the game. Lord of the Rings. for those kinds of movies.
And you look at, I would like everybody to look at these other films, and I did see The Goodbye Girl in the theaters. That's how old I am, and Star Wars as well. But is it because is Star Wars the best picture of that year? And I'm only going to ask only because of what it's become iconically. But was it still would it have been the best picture of that year? What year? 1977.
I definitely think so. It captured the world, man. I mean, and that year.
And here we go. The only one I've seen is Star Wars. So Star Wars, LOL.
This was a global phenomenon. This was not just some little movie like Annie Hall.
Well, it was, but at the time it was a little movie, right? It was,
but it completely, changed the game though, and I think that was instantly, Andy hates Star Wars. He told me just now.
Well, and now it's out onto the internet, so it must be true. So my question about that is because Star Wars has become so iconic, does it make it the best picture? Is this something that would need to be relooked at, or was Annie Hall justified as being the winner? Which was the Woody Allen film. Mm-hmm. Good question, right?
Yeah, I mean, Annie Hall is a fine film. I liked it. I didn't see it back in the day, but I did see it. But I mean, Star Wars, just like I said, it was an achievement. And again, an experience. Going back to what I said about Apocalypse Now, it was a definite experience, and that should have some merit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it got its renown for the special effects, and obviously got all its due there.
All the technical stuff, sure.
But is it still? Does that still make it the best picture? I'm just asking.
Well,
asking for a friend.
I think so.
Okay, we'll do one more, and then we'll let you go.
Alone. Getting back to my question, Elizabeth Berg. That's tricky. There can be a great director, but a poor movie, and vice versa. Performance, Nick Leshy, Kelly Cooper, so many different people making it happen. True.
Yeah.
And Nick Leshy said not always. Yeah. So.
Okay. So let's plug in one more, and then for fun, these
Sean Grady, Annie Hall.
Well, there you go. No, I mean I remember I saw Goodbye Girl when it came out in the theater, and I thought that was a great film. Richard Dreyfuss was amazing in it. I think he won for Best Actor.
But these kinds of films do tend to win more often than not, though. The small human stories that everyone can relate to.
Sure.
But when every now and again these kinds of movies come along that really change the game, and you're going to see it, and it like I said, it's just all about the experience of it. It doesn't matter if the movie makes any kind of sense or whatever.
Yeah.
I think back to 69. Why wasn't 2001 nominated for Best Picture that year? This was not a B science fiction movie. It set the standard for sci-fi movies to come, and
sometimes it takes years for people to catch up to that, though, right?
Every filmmaker that we know and love has seen that film and cited it as their one of the greatest movie experiences that they've ever had. And I don't personally feel that way. I've tried to watch the film over the years. I mean, but I've come to appreciate the movie. But if I had seen it at the right age, on the big screen, it might have been a different story.
Could be.
And that plays a part,
Absolutely.
So going to see these little intimate human dramas unfold, it's like you're watching a stage play sometimes too.
Yeah, and it depends.
Get a little stale, get a little old after a while.
Yeah, well, and it could be a sign of the times as well, and where the tastes are, and that kind of stuff wasn't being embraced yet as a serious art form. So let's do one more, okay, and then we're going to let everybody go. 1981. Chariots of Fire, Atlantic City, On Golden Pond, a small independent film you may not have heard of, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Reds, which was Warren Beatty's epic with Jack Nicholson.
Oh, Reds all the way. Reds all the way. Yeah. But here's I probably just I'm kind of eating my words here a little bit, but that was probably one of those epic films that was a misfire.
What, Chariots of Fire?
No, Reds. That
Reds.
that
Chariots of
experience
Fire
was
won.
amazing, you know.
A full disclosure, I've fallen asleep once in the theater, and didn't finish a movie. It was Chariots of Fire. I did go to see that because back when that came out, that theme song by Vangelis was so popular. And they would show the guys running on the beach. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go see Chariots of Fire. So I went and I fell asleep. I to this day, did not see that film. I've never fallen asleep in a film.
Sean Grady, Raiders, yes. Nick Leshy, Elizabeth Berg, Raising Lost Ark from me and Zach.
Aside from Raiders. Well, Andy, aside from Raiders, those are all old people movies. I'm not sure what you're saying because
Casey Bauer, agree, Andrew Cummings.
I saw those in the theater. I'm not sure.
Kylie
Raiders.
Harris.
Anything
So
Indiana
sweet.
Jones reminds me of Dad once again. Who is this Dad that she keeps referring to?
Well, for me, Raiders was the clear.
Chariots overrated. That's what it was, Sean. I think it was at the time when it came out, like 81. It was probably above my viewing level too. If I was really watching Raiders instead, I wasn't ready for Chariots of Fire by any means.
Old, old. That's awesome.
Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders.
Old.
There you go.
Wow. Okay.
Again, Raiders was just the perfect popcorn movie.
But was it the best picture? Is it best picture material?
Well,
is it when you look at that like On Golden Pond with Henry Fonda, old people, and Jane and Katharine Hepburn, old people, Reds with Warren Beatty, who's old now, and Jack Nicholson, who's old now.
Well, just think about the time it came out. There really wasn't that many of these kinds of films. Raiders was Star Wars and Raiders. I mean, there weren't that many of these kinds of movies.
No.
Now they're rampant, but back in the day, this was a rejuvenated, enjoyable experience in the theater. You had fun.
I actually saw Atlantic City in the theater too. That was Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon. And it was kind of like Burt Lancaster was old. I get point made. Dwight, awards are tricky. Look at Beautiful Mind, right? Best director, best movie. Russell Crowe was on that movie on screen 90% of the time. Carried, yet didn't win best actor. And that is the he won the next year for Gladiator for a role he probably shouldn't have won for. And that was his makeup Oscar, much like Denzel Washington should have won for The Hurricane, and he didn't, but they gave it to him for Training Day, like a year or two later. So that, when we talk about that, Dwight makes a really good point is that there's, those, they give out career awards sometimes depending on where they're at. And like Denzel Washington should have won for The Hurricane hands down, and he didn't. So it's like, and then Training Day, which he was good in, but I don't know if he was the best actor that year, and they did that with Russell Crowe. Gladiator is not a best actor portrayal. I'm sorry. Yeah. Great film, but not that. So then you're scratching your head. You're like, okay, well, what's going on here? It's like, well, he should have won for Beautiful Mind. So they kind of, the uproar afterwards. I
certainly wouldn't want to be on that board, voting for these films, because I don't know what the criteria actually is, from year to year. I know it's somewhat, people say it's somewhat political, and now we have to worry about diversity and this kind of thing happening. And I don't know. From year to year, it is very subjective.
Well, what they did to that point is in 2009, they expanded the amount of nominees for Best Picture. Another future topic: which movies should have been nominated and would have won but weren't nominated? Wow,
that's a good one. We
could start with 1996, which we happen to have a podcast about. If you want to hear our top 5 films of 1996, see, that's what you call a segue, Eric. If you want to hear our top 5 films of 1996, please listen to our podcast about it. But that is a great, another fun topic, right? Is these what ifs and what Nick is saying is what ones totally got iced and just shunned. That maybe should have been. That'll be an interesting one too. That will take a lot of research on our part, because you really got to dig deep and kind of look at the years and look at some things that, and again, hindsight's 2020. So some movies back then that maybe didn't even get a first look, maybe now have become those movies, much like a Shawshank, where people are like, what is this? Who, huh?
That's right.
And now it's a beloved film, like the Green Mile and other films of that ilk have become like these chestnuts for the new generation. These are like their Casablancas and On the Waterfronts and etc.
Which, by the way,
which are old people films.
And a lot of those films didn't do well back in the day, at box office, or so a lot of the great films of history are like, they might have won some awards, but people weren't going to see them necessarily, or so.
Yeah, it's a fickle thing.
It really is.
You don't want me to decide, because it'll be like Highlander for Best Picture, Warlock for Best Picture, Drowning Mona for Best Picture. What About Bob for Best Picture? So yeah, I don't I don't think you. if we pick the Oscars, it would be a disaster. It would just.
I think it's just a feeling like you go to the theater, you see something different, and you think that is the movers and the shakers. They're the ones that are. Again, we bring up Pulp Fiction. It's a movie like that was so. I remember when I first saw the movie, I didn't like it, but it's a movie that I had to return to. It required me to see it again and again, and to really appreciate it.
I'm getting more positive feedback for What About Bob and Highlander than
Kelly Cooper.
Bob was amazing. Well, there we go. I mean, so I'm not alone then. So there is a faction out there that would nominate What About Bob for Best Picture and Bill Murray for Best Actor for that film, and hopefully we'll get to talk about that one day. But there we go. Let's see. So that's it. As you can see, it's pretty subjective, but I think hopefully we've picked years that were very entertaining. And if you look at the 90s, just back to front and front to back, those nominees are all strong contenders. I mean, in the 90s, none of those Kroll with Eric and Johnny at the Galleria Theater, movie of the year. There you go. Dwight's got all the inside information. He's got the scoop on it.
He can get me into trouble.
So the 90s, I hope this was fun, is to kind of reminisce and remember how great the 90s were really for film. Music, yeah, it was pretty good, but I think if you look at and we didn't even talk about like Copland and others. I mean, there were so many other films that we could have that are in there that are classics. Fight Club. Where was Fight Club in this? It's like where are some of these other films that are classics? Mm-hmm. But you see what we had nominated, and there was a pretty I think Titanic was the only one that was almost unanimous. Everything else, and Saving Private Ryan, but the other ones, there was a smattering of opinion there. Yeah. Which was great, So we want to thank you. We're going to let you go. We kept you 11 minutes over. We thank you as always. Again, if we'll do a little bit of housekeeping if you weren't here in the beginning. Tomorrow is the last day to listen to our Sgt. Pepper episode and enter to win a copy of the vinyl. We have upped the ante. Instead of one copy of the vinyl, we are going to be giving away 2 copies of the vinyl with the 3324 swag pack. So that's going to be there. Tomorrow we have a new episode coming out, and we talk about The Who and their classic album, which is Eric's favorite of all time. He has said, bar none. Who's next? Did I say that? I said it for you. I know you weren't comfortable bringing it up like that, so I figured let me do that. So tomorrow we've got the new episode. Who's next? Sgt. Pepper. We're gonna do we'll definitely do another live stream in about another 2 weeks or so. It's a lot of fun. We love it. And then the final ask, like we said, is before we're going to thank you for everything first. We thank you for the support. It's been nothing short of amazing.
Well, we can only do this kind of thing without. We can't do this without you guys, though. I mean, we need and we would like to have many more people join in and participate and that kind of thing. So we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely want to open up the stream and get more people on the screen, which will be a lot more fun. But in the meantime, please do us a favor and go ahead and spread the word and share. You're the core 3324 friends and family, and we value that, and we continue to grow amazingly. I look at a lot of the stats, but you're sharing it and spreading the word helps also, and really helps kind of grassroots grow it. So we want to thank you. Nothing short of amazing, and we have a blast doing this, and the live shows are fun, and as you can see, we're spending more money on stuff here. I'm paying for that, so we're going to continue to do that, and we encourage, if you want to join us on one, we're probably going to do something about music the next one again, and we'll put it out there, and if you've got a great topic and it's something that we want to jump in on, we'll do that. Or if there's a movie that you're passionate about, that you're really passionate about, reach out to us, and we'd love to set something up. If it's a movie we haven't seen, we'll watch it. If it's one we or music or music that we haven't listened to, we'll listen to it. But it'll be fun to get some other points of view and bring some other people in on the conversation. That's what really makes it a blast, is that interactivity. So, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Eric.
You. Yep, Dean.
For Eric, this has been Dean. This is our famous sign off. So we're gonna thank you on behalf of the both of us for all your support. It means a lot to us. Take care, everybody. We're gonna ask you to please be kind and rewind.